Join us for Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19 with special guests Pam Haru, Pat Cooney, Adam Zakara, Emma Cody, Brianna Ronsley, Morgan Rouleau, and Mary Kate Scalzulli. That's 3 to 4 p.m. See you then. Hello and welcome to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19. Wow, it's tough to keep track of days these days, but I am a big fan of May 19 because I'm a big Steely Dan fan. And Steely Dan is a great musical group from way back. And one of their songs when I was a senior in high school was Hey 19. And I always thought they were saying May 19, but that's just me. I'm Ed Habashar, and it's Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19, and I've got a great guest lineup for you today. Let's show that on the screen with this graphic. From our admissions office, the Associate Dean of Admissions is Pam Haru. She'll be followed by our men's lacrosse head coach, Patrick Cooney. Our men's and women's tennis head coach is Adam Zakara, class of 1995. And then from the class of 2023, we have 4 individuals from our women's track and field team. Emma Cody, Brianna Ronsley, Morgan Rouleau, and Mary Kate Scalzulli. So a busy day here on Seahawk Talk. Let's get right to our first guest who's got a job to do, She can't just be messing around with Seahawk Talk. So let me unmute her and bring her in with this button. Hello, Pam Haru. How are you?
Hi, good, Ed. How are you?
Very good. You are busy. So
a little bit.
What do you got going on today?
Well, let's see. We have a little staff meeting coming up in just a bit where we talk about our territories and where all of our staff is. Normally this time of year, we'd be out in those territories recruiting, but we're going to be talking about this coming fall and where we're going to be meeting our juniors and sophomores when we're out on the road. Fingers crossed.
What are your territories and how did they come about?
Yep. So we have, basically we have an international and a domestic recruiting within our office. And we've got one guy at the helm of international recruiting, and that's Ron Beck. And he organizes all of those efforts, and a number of our admissions counselors will assist. And then throughout our domestic travel, we've got 14 admissions counselors that are servicing a number of different markets out there. One of which we have Nick Albanese, who lives out in Seattle, Washington, and he handles kind of the West Coast area. And then we have to break down some of our bigger states, our Massachusetts and Connecticut. So we'll put 3 or 4 counselors in those states. And I myself, after 25 years of doing this, I'm lucky I get the home state. I've got 53 schools across Rhode Island that I work with.
Wow, this state has a lot of schools.
It does. And then I also have Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Well, I can tell you, I've seen a few students very recently from Oklahoma, Lauren Harvey, impacting our women's tennis program.
Absolutely.
Catherine, I will call her Grace Murphy, who's been involved in sports information for our student employment.
Yeah.
And Megan Parham, a recent grad from Oklahoma with our women's volleyball program. So outstanding there.
Yeah, I think they really love being on the seacoast and the draw to New England, too.
And Arkansas, how's that going for you?
It's few and far between. I did have an applicant this year, but ended up deciding to stay, in state. but it's getting there. There's a couple counselors that we work with, and actually we had one of them that was going to be flying in this summer for our counselor visit program, but we had to put that on hold. So hopefully next summer they'll take the trip out to Newport to visit us and get to see the campus. And then I think if they bring that back and can bring those visuals back to the students, we might see some more from Arkansas.
Do you try to make the connection with the Netflix show Ozark with them?
Oh my gosh. I became an obsession. I had spent the last 3 weeks, it was like I'd wait for the kids to go to bed because my kids are young and watching Ozark. But my husband and I would be like, all right, Ozark time. So I don't know. Now I'm a little intrigued. I might have to take a trip out there.
Absolutely. They've got a lot of nice attractions.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, on my list of questions to ask you, besides territories, is you're known as an admissions counselor. Talk about that word counselor, what it means and how you apply it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we all have different titles. We all have different, responsibilities and auxiliary functions within enrollment management. But first and foremost, we're admissions counselors. And that means our number one priority, especially at a school like Salve, where we can provide the personal attention, is to do that and to really try to connect not just with the students, but with their school counselors and their families. This morning, I had a wonderful conversation. I was on the phone for about an hour with a mom of a young man who's trying to make that final decision as to where he's going to go to college. And, she called and she said, I apologize. Is it okay for me to call? And I just had to explain, absolutely, because you're part of the Salve family. And the Salve family is not just the student. And we know that in the athletics world, the tremendous support that we have from our families. So when a student looks at us, the counseling extends to that entire network that they have from their school and their home as well.
And how much has that changed from before the pandemic to what we're currently experiencing?
Yeah, it's a little, I would say it's even more personal at this point, because if you think of a traditional spring within admissions, juniors are getting that first glimpse of the school. And sometimes when they're taking a first glimpse, either a tour on campus or meeting with an admissions representative at their high school, they're asking some basic surface level questions, just to see and kind of feel it out. But I feel now in our virtual world, we're all digging a little deeper because we can. We have the time to do it. We have the resources. So the students are asking more pointed questions, about, can this education get me where I need to be? And can this experience fulfill, my talents and my interests? And the parents too. I think everyone has a heightened concern for family and what it means to be part of a community. So in a time like this, Salve especially shines because that's at our core. We've always talked about the Salve family and building a community, and that's something that's very natural for us. So I think it's lended to this virtual world quite well.
Yeah, and you did such a nice job of coordinating all of the efforts for our Connections Day in April and also another open house in April. Talk about that involvement.
Yeah, that was wild. So basically when the world shut down as we know it on March 13th, we said, gosh, we still have to answer all these questions to these over 3,000 students that we've admitted so they can make an informed decision. Even more scrutinizing in the selection, because they had to think of, all right, if I am on campus in the fall, where do I want to live? And if I can't be on campus, who's going to provide the highest quality education virtually? So we had to make a shift. Instead of hosting this kind of fun carnival-like event on campus where we bring everyone in and, we have our meal in the dining hall and we take the tours of campus, to how can we translate that content to the virtual world? So with a tremendous effort by all of the faculty and staff preparing their presentations, we were able to create a platform where students could log in and basically interact with whomever and whatever they wanted to really get that information that they needed. It was pretty amazing. And it's all still up online. For anyone who wants to access those portals, they can view any of the presentations, from everything from residence life to different academic programs to meeting with our coaches. That's available for them.
Yeah, because that information that you put together is still relevant no matter when they access it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pam, your background as a head coach with Salve Regina cross country, and then also swimming at Sacred Heart, volleyball at Roger Williams, and swimming at Boston University. That really helps you making that connection as you help our coaching staff with the recruitment of student athletes.
Yeah, it's been really nice to have the different perspectives as well. From Division III to Division II. At the time when I started the swim program at Sacred Heart, it was Division II, and then they eventually moved to the Division I. My introduction to Salve was through the athletics program. When I started coaching with cross country, 2 years of coaching, and then when the opportunity came to come on fully in the admissions office, I couldn't pass it up. I was already smitten by the university. But it's really been helpful for me to understand, what students looking at Salve are looking for in their athletic experience and what they're going to gain that's different than they get at another institution. Kind of that value added piece that comes with our athletic offering. And I think, it's the personal attention. We talk about it from admissions counselors, but you get it from the coaching staff as well. They're really developing the kids into adults and in a way that's not just sports specific or not just, content related to their particular major, really looking at them as a whole person and saying, all right, how can we improve them as leaders and as contributors to their community? And I think being involved in athletics really let me see that.
You're helping people find their path in life, and college is a big part of that. What was the most common question prior to the pandemic, and what has become, if not the same, common question since the shutdown?
Yeah, I think before the question that we would get quite often and that we wanted to be asked the most is, what is a differentiator of Salve? And hands down, it's our Mercy mission. I challenge anyone to look at the mission statements of any college and say, all right, how are they living this? How is this woven into the fabric of that institution? And Salve's Mercy mission is in everything that we do, from your residence halls to your classrooms to the playing fields, working for a world that's harmonious, just, and merciful. That's just something that we do. So that question, I would say, to be honest, they're not asking me as much about the Mercy mission as they are about, am I going to get to move on campus in the fall?
Yeah.
That's a big question. We intend to do that, and we intend to bring everyone back. And we're just hoping that we can continue to be safe and move forward and make that happen. But that's a big question on a lot of students' minds.
And that's our desire as well from everybody across campus. And even in athletics, the Mercy mission is expressed when we have success. I love the Catherine McCauley quote, "Let us rejoice when good is done, no matter by whom it is accomplished." And that's a stone that sits right in front of Rogers Recreation Center. So it's absolutely beautiful to share through video, but also in person. So hopefully they'll be in person in the fall.
Yes. And we're feeling that it's pretty harmonious right now. I have to say, an amazing class coming in. We did extend our deadline until June 1st to give families a little bit more time to process everything in this new world. But we have a great class coming in, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, May 1 is traditionally the deadline for decisions, but with the extension, talk about how that's helped both you and the families in making their decisions.
Yeah, it's helped to just to take the pressure off, because this should be a really exciting time for families. It should be a time that they can be celebrating. And had we stuck to that May 1, I think it would have just been too much pressure. Families were still figuring out their finances. There was an uncertainty with that. So now I think families are feeling a little more stable in their situation, so they can celebrate a bit more. And we're seeing that from the posts of the students when they make their decisions. They're getting to have fun with it. And had we stuck to the prior deadline, it would have felt more like a business transaction. Yeah. And these kids deserve to have fun with this. It's one of the biggest decisions they've made in their life, and they really should be celebrating that. So it's worked out well for us.
Good. And kudos to you. What do you do for celebration now that everything is wrapping up or turning over into a new year?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying, like, we've been doing a lot of celebrating with our students. I stay in touch. I'm the advisor to the swim club. So I've been staying in touch with them. And then this past Sunday after commencement, it was great for the kids that live locally. We were able to kind of drive around and see them with the drive-by celebrations. As a family, we celebrate by going on bike rides. We've been celebrating just being outside. We all got a little too much sun on Saturday. I think we got overzealous with our outdoor projects, and now we're all hurting a little bit. But it's been good, and we've been baking and cooking, and doing a lot of that. So
your specialty is?
Well, tonight we're doing T-bone steaks on the grill.
Nice.
Just to get our hands on steak at the store was exciting. So we have been doing a lot of grilling, but I would say my oatmeal chocolate chip cookies are probably like the family favorite.
Sweet. Literally. Well, thanks for joining us on Seahawk Talk today on Tuesday, May 19. And I'll let you get back to work and say hello to the rest of your staff.
All right. Great to see you, Ed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That's Pam Maru from SalveAthletics University at Admissions Office. I'm Ed Habishaw, and we'll be right back with Patrick Cooney from Salve Regina Men's Lacrosse. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19. I'm Ed Habishaw. We just finished up a segment. We always rotate that 3 o'clock segment on Tuesdays. It's been Tom Blaney, Matt Finlayson, Andrew Pizzelli, our athletic trainers. 4 of them, Dave Cox, Amanda Carson, Emily Miller, Rebecca Ramirez-McKinley. We had Dawn Hahn in that spot. Let's see, who else have we had? We've gone back to Matt Finlayson and Andrew Pizzelli. And then in week 8, we're in. Wow, can't believe it's already week 8. We caught up with Pam Haru. I was going to say Pamela Martin, St. Martin, from that's her maiden name. And she's with our admissions office. So that's the first time we've actually gone a little bit outside of athletics for that. Now we're going to stay in the state of Rhode Island, stay on Aquidneck Island, and actually head to his office and catch up with our head men's lacrosse coach, Patrick Cooney. How are you, Coach?
Good, Ed. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you for sharing many staff members and players with us the last several weeks. Got to catch up with them through this segment on Tuesdays at 3:15. And you're in the office. How often have you been able to get into that environment over the last 2 months?
Not as much as you'd like to, but yes, we have homeschooling going on at home. We have the high school, the middle school, and grammar school all going at once. So, internet service, whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Good call there on your part.
So you got to get some peace and quiet when possible, but just trying to get after recruiting.
Excellent. And the signal is great here. This past Sunday, we had a chance to witness virtual conferral of degree ceremonies for all of our Seahawks seniors, and that includes several gentlemen from men's lacrosse.
Yeah, special shout out to our 6 seniors. Just a great group of young men, and we're just, really excited what they've done and looking forward to seeing what they do in the future.
A couple of them are coming back, we hope.
Yes, two have expressed interest in going for graduate programs, and with the fifth year, both AJ Yarrow and Ethan Robeson are looking to come back.
Well, that's good to hear, and they'll be greeting a good amount of returnees, and then from that group, you'll be adding some newcomers, and one of them's very familiar from within your household.
Yes, we have 9 newcomers coming in, including my son, Liam Cooney, who's a Portsmouth High graduate to be. He actually ends school this Friday coming out. So as he puts it, he's just going to log off and he's done. We're excited about the young men, diversity of different majors, and from throughout the East Coast. We have a big returning group of young men, so we tried not to bring in a big class this year. Conversely, last year we had 17 come in.
Yeah.
This year 9, not counting walk-ons. So we're looking at the mid-40s, even upwards of 50 returning, if everything goes as planned.
What is Liam declaring a major, or is he coming in undeclared?
He's interested in education. He did declare education. But he's open to other areas, including administration of justice. He's quite not sure what he wants to do. Of the 9, he's actually the youngest of the group. He's still 17 right now. So we'll see. But he's excited about a lot of opportunities here at Salve, both on and off the field.
Yeah, we've had a great time witnessing his progression as a young person soon into adulthood. But when he comes around campus with you and throws the ball around on occasion, it's great to see. So those 2 majors, Pat, he can't go wrong either one.
Earlier when he told me that, I said, "Well, I guess Salve's in the mix then."
I know. We've got a fighting chance.
I started that way, and you never know. And young men, they make decisions at that age. But he's excited, and it's been great having him around, travel with the team, even take spring trips with us. So I think he does have a special place for Salve in his heart, and really bleeds blue and green.
Pat, let's go back to when you were his age. When did you first pick up a lacrosse stick, and what was it about the sport that drew you to it and said, you know what, I want to play this? And how did you go about doing what he's doing, finding a college that was right for you?
I think I grew up in an area where it was prominent in Long Island. I grew up in Garden City South, and I went to a high school, Chaminade. Areas both very good in lacrosse. So there was young men around me I wanted to emulate, and lacrosse was very big in that neck of the woods. And I saw an opportunity academically to ride the tails of athletics, and did that in a number of sports. But I just had neighbors growing up who had sticks. My mom went to a very good high school that way, where lacrosse had a tradition. And then just through the people I knew, I grew up with a young man who I went to high school with. His father was the Team USA coach. So I was really lucky to be around a lot of reputable coaches at a young age. Went to camps, clinics, and always looked up to these young men and coaches, and really blessed to be able to do what they do today. In fact, I was writing a recruiting email earlier to one of the parkees of the Garden City Park system, who's a high school teacher, guidance counselor at Floral Park High School now. And I was in this unprecedented time. I know there's many transfers. And I always try to reach back to those mentors who've been in the business, so to speak, for a long period of time. And Wally Cook, who was a college coach at one time, has probably been in the business 50 years. And I think you're going to see some of that in the future at the D3 level for a variety of reasons, as we all know. Financially, just a progression of athletics at all different levels. It's going to be an interesting time coming up. But genuinely, the love of this sport is what we're looking for in a recruit. So I harken back to those days as a child. If you come from what we call a legacy program, there's a tradition there. There's a culture within the community that starts at a very early age, where these young men and women in all different sports really believe in that sport, and in this case, lacrosse. So we try to go to those traditional areas with recruiting, and like I was lucky to experience, and many on the team are as well.
Did you know that you were going to play college lacrosse, or at least try out for college lacrosse?
I did. You know, I went to a high school where it perennially ranked top in the country, either 1 or 2 or 3 usually.
Yeah.
So I was blessed at an early age. I was recruited to Naval Academy, went there, and I was recruited by all Division I schools. And that's just that neck of the woods. It's the people you play that make you good. And I was blessed at the freshman, JV, and varsity level to play nationally ranked teams. And that's where you see in all sports the best players come from. It's that incubator that tests and challenges a young man or woman in that respective sport in those areas to be the best they can be. And we try to go after those guys, as I've said before. Maybe not the All-American on the team, but the All-State individual, the second midi line guy.
The one that has the greatest heart.
Yeah, and they play in that team environment, which is important for our sport especially, like many others, but especially when you get a lot of players on the field, the team is most important as opposed to the individual.
Absolutely. And they learn so much from their practice settings because they're playing in a quality program.
Definitely, and you don't have to teach them how to run. They know how to catch and throw already.
And you were blessed to have the opportunity to coach at a very young age at the college level.
Yeah, I've always been lucky in a number of ways, and just luck. I think it didn't pay much, to be honest, Ed. Probably only 2 or 3 people apply. My first job, so you got to do what you got to do. But I was head coach at 22.
Well, that's outstanding. You are a team that's coming off a 5-1 record from this past spring, and so many positives already that you experienced during the season. How are you ready to build on that? I love how you guys have been maintaining contact with each other and talking with each other through the various platforms that technology allows. And you just built a nice close-knit family with your staff and with your team. And you must have your group ready to go, raring to go for next year.
I think you hit it on the head there as far as family, Ed. We're trying to foster a culture of family, emphasis, love of each other, love of everything we're doing academically, athletically. And the culture's really stepped forward in the right direction. The wins definitely are coming with that, but it's the culture. It's how you do things, not necessarily what you're doing, but the body language, some things that I'm taking from other programs. Our assistant coaches have been, great in that regard. But we're looking forward to, as you allude to, next year, most definitely.
Yeah, so it's not so much about the outcome, but the input that you guys are doing.
It is a little of the journey, definitely,
Yeah.
and I think it is an experience at all levels athletically, Division I, 2, and 3. We try to motivate our young men with off-the-field evolutions, events, and just showing that you care both on the field, but more importantly, even academically. What are the goals professionally as they get older? Trying to link them mentors and those who can put them in the position they want to do. As I say, have the finger on the pulse of the network and you'll do good.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you on your 9 incoming recruits, especially that top one from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, Liam Cooney.
Thank you. We're looking forward to a great year next year.
Well, great catching up with you, Pat, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Very good. Have a great day.
You too. That's Patrick Cooney, our head men's lacrosse coach, coming to us from Newport, Rhode Island, inside the office at Rogers Recreation Center. I'm Ed Habishaw. We'll be back with head men's and women's tennis coach Adam Zakara after a short break. Hello and welcome back to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19. I know our next guest I know he's a big music fan, that's for sure. Whether he knows this song by one of my favorite groups of all time, Steely Dan, remains to be seen and or heard. We will go to him right now. Let me press a few buttons to enable things to happen. And not that one, but this one. He's on screen now, and he's unmuted. Hello, Coach Zakara. How are you?
Hello, Coach Habershaw. I'm excellent. How are you?
Very good. Oops, I got to get myself out of this zone. And so I made a reference to one of my favorite groups. I don't think I said the name, but Steely Dan.
You did. I'm looking forward to the contest here because Steely Dan I happen to love.
You're a big Steely Dan fan, huh?
Well, when I was growing up, my two older, so I'm the youngest of four kids. My two older sisters, literally all I heard coming out of their bedrooms were Earth, Wind, and Fire and Steely Dan.
Oh, awesome.
Those two bands, I think, and maybe Peter Frampton a little in there.
Awesome sounds out of the Brookfield household.
Yes.
All right, so today's date. Say today's day.
Today's date is May 19th, 2020.
All right. What Steely Dan song reminds you of today's day?
Hey 19.
No, we can't dance together.
If I could only sing, I would join you.
Hey, I can't sing.
You hear my voice. It's froggy enough. You can imagine the singing.
Hey, I can't sing, Adam. That doesn't stop me.
All right.
Way back in 67.
Yep. I'll have to play it for you someday. I've got their greatest hits on vinyl.
Ooh.
And the Aja album, the Asia. Yeah.
Asia. Well, we were fortunate to have Alex Azari on last week, as you had recently named him captain. So we congratulated him.
I'm excited for him, and he did a great job on Seahawk Talk. I don't think you told him about looking straight in the camera, but other than that, he did a wonderful job.
Yeah, and sound quality was pretty good with his headset.
Yeah.
So we did that. And talking to you in Q before we brought you on live, I guess you couldn't be outside today because it was too windy.
I wanted to do it, but it's literally, I have windscreens on my courts here at Cary, and one of them completely popped out.
Ooh.
Every zip tie, I've never seen that.
Oh, I've seen it plenty of times over the years at our courts on Leroy Avenue. It's, they're not named properly. They're not wind screens. They're technically not wind screens. They are backdrops. That's all they are backdrops, so that you don't see through the fence. You see a solid backdrop or even a nice logoed backdrop.
I like them, and I think what we did is perfect. We took those fences down 4 feet.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to put any windscreen, we'll use that term temporarily, on those. The back fences, I think we do. It'll look nice.
But even Adam, on the lower fences, the 4-foot fences, you can put signage on there.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be spectacular.
You know what I really want to do, Coach, while we're having this chat?
Yes.
I watched the last home baseball game. I think you saw me there.
Yes.
And I was admiring what they did at the dugout, how they've got every year of their championships.
Yes.
And I've got a lot of pride as a Seahawk for over almost about 30 years now. And I want to put our tennis numbers up there somewhere.
Absolutely.
I think it would be a really cool idea, especially since, just as a reminder, we have 11 on the women's side and 15 on the men.
Yeah.
I think that's the most of all SalveAthletics, so I'm proud to put that up there.
Yeah. In both baseball and all of our sports are represented within the Rogers Recreation Center on the banners that hang there, and we see those days, but it's so much means so much more to have them out at your venue where you play your home matches or your home games. So Great idea,
Yeah.
Adam. That's a tremendous idea for that.
I rode my bike by the courts today, actually, and the sun was shining down, and it just looked so pretty out there. I can't wait to get the benches out and start decorating a little, and it's just a beautiful venue.
Well, I think a lot of the changes that happened last year were a result of you bringing in alumni such as Owen Curtin, Mike Lombardi, Johnny Lees, John Picozzi, yourself, and Mark Saulnier, just to have them play on those courts again and then look around and say, you know what, these could use some improvement, so here are some thoughts. Tremendous job on your part bringing them in.
Thanks. And I think it was something you were all probably discussing already, and we just kind of sparked the fire of it. And I'm really happy to see how quickly it's gone into action. So kudos to everyone involved, facilities and Bill Villarreal has been amazing help too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what, are there nets up on there yet on those courts?
No, there's not, because what Jared Coleman and I think kind of unanimously with facilities decided was that we're going to wait until after they get painted, because they're still ready to get painted. And the company that's doing it, JG Coffee, they just did some work on the courts here on the Ruggles Ave, and he confirmed that he's been in touch with Jared. So I feel even after that, Coach, I want to wait until maybe the second week of August to put the nets up. I don't want to turn into this bad guy in town, but a lot of the public's been using our courts, and now that we're making them so beautiful and investing all our own money, and we've got these new nets and benches and courts are painted, I don't think the baseball team would let a family go out and have like a Sunday afternoon baseball game on the field. And I kind of don't want to let that happen on the tennis either.
No, fully supporting that, Adam. And your courts at Ruggles Avenue, Carey Mansion, actually were the location of your first practice this past fall for your women's team back in August.
Right.
And you had a number of folks graduate on Sunday. Talk about the Seahawks seniors.
Yeah, I'm so happy for them. And I saw on their Instagrams the three girls, Priscilla, Lily, and Shaylin. They're all really excited. And I'm really happy for Lily for getting the award, the honor she did. So well deserved. She got the service award.
Yeah.
And of all people, I mean, she's been so giving up herself. And she had a really tough senior year. She lost her mother in the fall. And then she lost her spring to this virus. And, my heart goes out to all of them. But I'm proud that she won that award.
Yeah, we're showing their images on the screen right now from their first practice. So we took that team photo over at the courts on Leroy Avenue. And then the practice shifted up to the courts on Ruggles Avenue. What a blessing it is to have options to work at the sport that you love.
We're spoiled, and we've also got the Hall of Fame too.
Oh yes, really key. I think I had some Instagram postings ready to show. Tell me about your involvement in photography, Adam, because both I saw some great images, Newport Tennis and Fitness, and then also some great images on Instagram from your own personal account, AZNPT.
Yeah, AZ, abbreviation for Newport.
Yeah.
Number one. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about your passion for photography.
So I got into photography years ago. I've always loved photography, but I think once we all got these state-of-the-art cameras in our walking around in our pockets with our smartphones, that a lot of people started turning into photographers. And also that combined with social media and places to show your images, I think photography grew, which is exciting. And, for me, it's always been a hobby, but over the last 5 years, I have been asked by a lot of people if they could purchase, some of my prints. I also put a book together that I know you've seen.
Oh yeah, the coffee table.
It's something I really enjoy. It's turned into a passion, a hobby that I never expected I would get as into, but I am. And I sold 9 of my images to the town of Middletown. First time I ever got paid. It was a nice sum of money too. I'm not allowed to use those images ever again, but that's okay. They're going to use them on billboards and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recently I took an aerial shot. I was lucky enough to go on a couple helicopter rides last year. And I took an aerial shot of St. George's, and a lady Facebook messaged me. Her daughter just graduated from there, and she really, really wanted it. And I couldn't come up with a price, so I just gave it to her. Nice. And she put it up on a huge 16 by 20 canvas, and she just sent me a text with it that it came back to her, and she's so happy. But yeah, I love it. I love photography.
And on today's, let me show it on the screen. I see the tall ships that you've got on display. You reminded me about the Tennis Hall of Fame. They had an Instagram posting that the Forge Casino is now open for outdoor seating, which is adjacent to the nice court at the
Horseshoe
Tennis Hall of Fame. Yeah.
So
and then also you've got
this was actually the book I put together. My photography book, if you can see it.
Okay, bring it up towards your camera. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, so I put a book together about the 10 beaches of Newport, with stories about each beach. And the American History Press picked it up. They're going to publish it for me, but it was supposed to launch this spring, and due to this pandemic and not one bookstore or anything open, it's kind of on pause right now, so we'll see what happens.
I think it'll be a big seller shortly thereafter, though.
That's the cover.
Adam, you're showing footprints on the tennis courts from somebody that helped you set up the courts today at Carey Mansion.
Yeah, that's the owner of Carey Mansion, Denise Carey. She has a love for this one breed, a Neapolitan Mastiff. And she had a dog named Rudolfo that we all loved, that lived, for, I think he got put down last year. He was 10 years old. And she found through the lineage, it's his same lineage, she got a brother and sister, Basilia and Atlas, which are named after Zeus's children.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Basilia the other morning at 7 a.m. was out for her morning bathroom, and found me setting up the tennis courts and followed me back and forth, bringing all the equipment out. And that was the morning dew of her paws there on the courts, yeah.
You gotta love it. So you had been blessed with some good weather, just weren't able to get outside. You had to cancel some things today because of the high winds.
Yeah, it's not, we could be out there, and I did a couple morning lessons, but just, it's not good or fun when you're feeding a ball and a forehand turns into a backhand because of the wind, and it makes teaching hard as well as learning.
Well, I hope the rest of the month stays nice sunshine, and then you get out there. If you can't get out on the courts, get out doing something. Like you said in an earlier segment on Seahawk Talk, pick up a hobby, whether it be photography or doing books on beaches. Encourage people to do that. And when Alex was on last week, he said virtually the same thing. He said he's staying busy, he's staying active, he's doing things.
There's so much to do. I just got another little hobby I've had for years. I love scooters, and I have these old Yamaha Chappies, which are very popular in Newport. You'll see them around. There's green, yellow, and red colors. Well, I have a green and a yellow, and I've been doing a lot of work. I just got the yellow one back on the road today, so Yeah, another little hobby.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Good seeing you again on a Tuesday. Hey, 19.
Yes, go Steely Dan.
And I'm never going back to my old school.
Yeah, so I did go back to my old school.
Yes, he did.
All right, Coach, great to see you.
One of the first lyrics in that song is something about Annandale.
Yeah,
But
I
I think it
know.
has to do with Michigan versus the street in Newport.
But there's just so many similarities.
There are. So great seeing you, Adam, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Okay, take care.
Have a happy Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thank you. That's Adam Zakara, head coach for men's and women's tennis on Seahawk Talk. I'll be joining up with members of our women's track and field team, Seahawks, who have yet to compete. We'll see. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I think we've got audio. We've got videos very soon. Let me clear that. Let me get this. And bump that. And please welcome from our track and field team, several members on the screen. Oh, gotta click another button. There we go. Mary Kate Scalzuli from North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Emma Cody from Milford, Connecticut. And Brianna Rawlsley from... It's on the tip of my tongue. No, Brianna from North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Mary Kate is from Norwell, Massachusetts. There we go. Ladies, welcome to Seahawk Talk on Tuesday, May 19th. How are you?
Doing okay. Doing well.
You have just completed your freshman year as a student at Salve Regina. Now tell me about your academic and your athletic experience.
I mean, this year was pretty weird with the whole quarantine. We went into it and we really only got like 3/4 of the year, so academic was kind of strange. And then our season really got cut off. We didn't get to compete at all, but we still got a lot of like training, and we got to meet everyone on the team. So as far as like getting to know everyone, we still got a lot of, I guess, like connecting.
Yeah.
I agree. It was a very odd freshman year, but we started together practicing in October, I believe. So we got a lot of time together to learn about everyone. So that was nice.
Yeah, even though we didn't get to compete or anything, like every practice, we still got to hang out with like the whole team and meet everyone, like make connections and like become friends with everyone on the team. So that was nice.
And Emery, you were fortunate to have a cross-country season. Talk about that experience and how it helped you to transition from one sport to another sport.
Doing cross country helped me because I was able to, like, I already knew how to balance doing schoolwork and like going to all my classes with practice, and I was already friends with a lot of people that were on the track team, so it just made it easy like transitioning to track. It was like the same people, and like I already knew like practice was at the same time, so it was like keeping up with the same routine that I already had down.
Already it's a challenge when your sport doesn't have any home events and your practice facilities are either indoors at the Rogers Recreation Center or elsewhere. Talk about how you adjust to that environment.
Adjustment. I think it's definitely different for your body running inside personally. So it was important for us, like sprinters, to go outside sometimes. So I know a lot of us had problems with our feet and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I feel like the upperclassmen also made it really helped with our like adjustment. Showed us, like Brie was saying, ways to make it easier on our like body as far as injuries go and icing and stuff like that. And they just made like the transition and getting to know how to do everything a lot easier.
And again, the distance runners such as Emma.
Yeah, we were outside all the time, just layered up.
Gotta love that. When you do get to compete, there are some special venues that you get to perform at, and one of them we're showing on screen right now. Southern New Hampshire University in Southern New Hampshire was a site for a track and field meet the last several years, and they've got a fantastic venue for your sport. Talk about the camaraderie that track and field athletes experience, no matter whether you're a distance runner or a sprinter or a thrower or a hurdler or a jumper. You all come together as a team, as athletes, and support each other. Talk about the camaraderie that your sport experiences that is so unique to it, unlike any other.
I mean, there are parts definitely of track that are like harder to get through than others, like really long workouts and meets when you're really feeling the stress. And having a whole team of people who know like exactly what you're going through and getting to like talk through it with them is so helpful. And I think there's a level of like understanding between all the athletes who are competing, no matter like what the event is. It's a very like individual thing, running your own race and having your own times, but having a team to come back to that's like very supportive and where you're all like kind of in it together is so helpful. And being able to like go to them for support when you're like nervous or when you're having a terrible workout day or something like that, it's good to like, be able to like lean on people like that.
yeah, I think no matter how you perform, you always know that you'll have smiling faces to come back to and bring you up. So I think that's really important for us.
Yeah, even for like cross country, like even during the meet, if you were like running past someone that's on your team, you'd be like, "Come on, like keep it up, like stay with me." So it's like always like supporting each other, no matter what. Even if they're beating you, like you're always just being so supportive and like helping everyone out with everything.
And from an academic standpoint, had you experienced what you ended up going through the final part of the semester from an online learning standpoint? And if so, how was it? And if not, how was it?
As far as like if we had ever done online classes before?
Yeah.
I had never. I thought that it was. I mean, there were definitely parts that I liked. I could like take tests from my bed, which was pretty cool. But other than that, there weren't many advantages. I missed like the in-classroom feeling of it and getting to really like connect with my peers and my teachers. So I missed all of that. But it was to keep everyone safe. So obviously there's a definite benefit to it, a kind of necessary evil, I guess.
I've done online tutoring before, but that's pretty much it. That was only for one class. And I think overall, I agree with Mary Kate. It wasn't the best experience. I think the best part about Salve is the small community and getting to see your friends every day. When you're walking to class, you always see someone you know. So I definitely missed that part of it.
Yeah, it was definitely different not being like in person. Like I miss like going to O'Hare with my friends, just like sit around at a table and just like talk to everyone. So it's definitely different just taking tests from your bed. Like
Yeah. Yeah, the immediacy of being able to jump into a classroom is fine, but having the opportunity to interact with others at your leisure is much more preferred.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, talk about what you're looking forward to in 2020, 2021.
I think for me, I'm just most excited to see what like a collegiate meet will be like. I'm excited to put on the uniform and actually be able to like go out there and get some times and compete, I guess.
I know we've all been working hard, so it was kind of a bummer to have us been training and not be able to show it off a little. So I'm looking forward to getting to compete and see how everyone does, because I think we have a pretty good incoming class. So
I'm also looking forward to competing. It's going to be really fun, like seeing how everyone does in the meets will be fun.
Have any of you been able to maintain some sort of competition-ready condition? Let's say if you were ready to come back tomorrow, while you're at home, is there any training that you've been able to do?
Mostly all I've been able to do is like long runs. The track at my hometown is closed down, so we can't really do that. And short workouts are hard to measure out on like the road.
Yeah.
So it's mostly just 5 miles, 6 miles, long stuff. So kind of.
yeah, I mean gyms are closed, so we don't necessarily get the weight aspect of it. But I've been going on runs and trying to do some body weight stuff to keep in shape for next season.
I've been keeping up with the training because it's just going on long runs and just doing things that are easy to track on a watch. So it's been pretty easy to keep up with it.
You don't have to wear a mask when you do those runs, though, do you?
No.
You're able to breathe in your running. Well, I hope things gets back to normal ASAP for all three of you, Mary Kate, Emma, and Brianna. Thank you for joining me today on Seahawk Talk. I'm glad you are now transitioning from freshman to sophomore. How does that feel to be able to call yourself a college sophomore?
Crazy.
It happened in the blink of an eye, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Doesn't it feel like just last year? I mean, just last week you were moving into your respective residence halls?
It went so fast.
It did.
Definitely did.
Well, hopefully you'll be back in Newport before you know it, and we can slow things down a bit, not in terms of your racing ability, but in terms of how you're living life.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, good seeing you, Mary Kate, Emma, and Brianna. Thank you for joining me on Seahawk Talk. Have a great summer and happy Memorial Day.
You too.
Well, thank you.
Take care. That's Emma Cody, Brianna Rawlsley, and Mary Kate Scalzulli. I'm Ed Habershaw. Thank you for joining us today on Tuesday, May 19 with Seahawk Talk. We'll see you tomorrow with fall sports on the menu. Take care.